So hello guys, welcome back once again in the another video of React Native, and in this video we will differentiate how we use the state in the functional component and how we use the state in the class component. In the React Native we use the React.js library. Actually React Native is the superset of the React.js, so all the features we use in the React we can also use in the React Native with the help of the React library. So before the 2019 and before the React version 16.8, so we have not any option to set the state in the functional component. So we had always used class component for setting the state management. So after introducing the React feature useState, we are also able to set the state in the function component also. So now in the class component and now in the functional component we can use the state. So in the functional component we use the state with the help of the useState hooks. So in this lecture we will compare the both and also used the state in both the components. So in my previous video we have created what is the difference between the function component and the class component. So if you did not watch my previous video, so I have also given the link in the description box, so you can watch my previous video also, because here we have already added the two components. One is the class component and one is the function component, and we directly use here. So this is the app.js, and here we have already imported two components. First of all, in the class. So in the class, how we use the state. So in the class is declared like this in the class component, and here we directly write here constructor. So constructor actually a function, and inside the constructor we use the state when we initialize the component. So first of all constructor function is called. So here we are using the app class component here, and we are inherit from component. So we can use here component because we imported here component, and we can use here also react.component. We are directly using here component because React library also provide the component. So in the constructor we use here a keyword is the super. So with the help of the super, this construction function is also inherit the feature of the super component. So here super component is the React component we are importing here. So this construction function also use all the features of the super component, and inside the super we use here a another object is the state. So here we use the this dot state object, and inside this we use all the state variable we can use here. So suppose I want to display anything, so I can declare here. Suppose I want to display any message, so you can declare the state variable like this, and here you can display the message. This is class component, and this message you can directly use here inside the render. So I can, with the help of the JSX, you can directly use here message, but directly you cannot use here. You need to add here like this dot state dot name of the variable message, and now save it. So you can see here the result. This is class component because we are using a two component. One is the functional component and one is the class component. So we are changing our message in the class component. So here a class component message is displaying in both the screens. Second, how we set the state. You can use here a button, and with the help of the button we can set the state. Suppose I am using here a props of the button is the title. So you can give here any title. Suppose I am using here change, and here you can need to add the another prop is the on press, and in the on press you can add a. So for setting the state you need to add here this dot set state, and here you will add and set the state. So here the variable we are using here a message. So in the message you can use here a another message. So this is a class component, and suppose I want to change this message with the help of the change button. So suppose I want to use here this is a class good component, so I am adding here good. Suppose I save this, so you can see here a button is showing here in the iOS and in the Android. When I'm clicking on the change, so you can see here another message is showing here. So this is class good component, and when you click on the Android, so message will be changed in the Android as well. So like this we use the state in the class component. So this is the old process we used in the React.js. So if you have already worked in the React.js, so you already know about how we use the class component in the React.js. But the new thing here is the functional component. So how we use the state in the functional component. So with the help of the useState hook, so we use here useState. So this is another property of the React use state, and with help of this we use the state in the functional component. So here first of all we can use state only in the functional component. Use state we can only use in the functional component. In the class component you cannot use the use state. Another thing, we need to functional component here, and in the functional component only at the top position we always declare the use state hooks. We need to add here a variable is the const, and here is the predefined declaration of the state variable. So this is the predefined array we use in the function component when we declare the state variable with use state. Suppose here you want to display a count, and here I will use the update function is the set count, and here you will use the use state, and this is the initial value. Suppose I am using here a 0. So here I will show that this count is the current state like we use in the class component. So here message is the current state, but in the functional component the count is the current state, and here set count. So another thing, we use here a set count. So set count is the update function. You can say the state update function is the set count, and here 0 is the initial value. So another thing, you can use multiple use state. Suppose I want to display this count here, so you can use here a JSX, and inside the JSX you can display the count directly here. You need not here this dot state, because you are using here directly a count in the functional component. You can directly use the count as a variable here. Suppose you want to set the state in the functional component, so you need here a, suppose I want to use the same button here. So this is the button I am using here, so I will use same button in the functional component, and here I am using the name of the button is the increment, and here when you set the state you just need to add this function here, and inside this function you want to increment in the count, so you can use this count plus 1. So like this you can use the set state. So set state we use here set function is the set count. Now I save this and check on the emulator and the simulator. So you can see here a increment button is showing in the both simulator and the emulator. So when I'm clicking on the increment, so you can see here the value is incremented on the each click. So another thing, you can use the multiple use state in the single function. Suppose I want to use here a string type declaration, so you need to add here name. I am using here a variable name, so here I am using the current state as a name, and here I need to add the name, and here the initial value I am using a string type, so we need to add here a blank string. So in the button click you can also change the name. So multiple set state function we can use at the same time. Suppose here I am using the initial name is the coding, and when you click here you want to change the name, so you can add here like this. So now we save it. So when I'm clicking here, so nothing will be happen because we are not displaying the message here. So I want to display this name also, so you need to add here name. Now I save this, and when you click on the increment, so you will see the message will be changed as a coding yarn. So you can also reset the state here. Suppose I want to use here the reset, and here the value again I want to use 0, and name again I want to show as a coding. So when you click here, so the name will be changed 1, and here coding yarn. So when you click here, so reset. Another thing, you can declare here as a string, you can declare here as a object. So suppose you want to display any object here, so suppose here I want to use any object and use here as a object. So you can also declare in the use state as a object. Suppose I want to display here id is 100. So this is a object. You can also use directly here. Suppose you want to display any object message directly from the use state, so you can use it. You need to add a obj here, and dot, you will see the object variable as a message, so you can display it also. So the good work is showing here. Suppose I am giving here a margin top is the 5. So you will see here the good work is showing here. So you can also declare here any array if you want. So and here you can set the array value. Suppose this is a single object, you can use here a multiple objects like this. So actually this is array we are declaring here directly in the state, and we can use this with the help of the index. So I am using the index1 message. So when you will save, so the bad work will be show here. So like this you can use here a array. So if you want to call any function in the state with the help of the use state, so you can also do. Suppose I am declaring another state here, and suppose I am using here area, and here you want to use state here, and here I am using a use state, and inside the use state you can call any method. Suppose I am declaring here another method, and name is the compute area, and this name you can use here directly, and here you can pass the values. Suppose I am passing here 10 and 20. Here you will use lb, any variable you can use here, and here you can return this. So I am using here a easy example for the understanding. So you can use here any complex function, and you can directly call in the use state. So I am just calculating here area, and I am returning from here. So directly I am calling from the use state, and here now you can calculating the area, and you can display this area here. So now save it and check on the emulator and the simulator. So you can see here 200 is showing because we are using the argument as a 10 and 20. So the multiply of the 10 and 20 is showing here. So like this we can use the use state in the React Native. So I hope this video is very helpful for understanding how we use the state in the class component, and how we use the state with the help of the use state in the functional component. So if you have any doubt, any query regarding to this video, so please let me know in the comment section. So if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching.